Hey guys, my name is Brian Skine from secretsofsushi.com, and in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to flatten your whetstone. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the kind of sharpening station that I have set up here. So the first thing I have is a plastic bin that's filled with some fresh cold water, and the stone that I'm going to be using today is the King two-sided whetstone. So this has a 1,000 and a 6,000 grit stone on either side. I also have a whetstone holder, which has these real convenient like rubber stopper feet that prevents it from slipping anywhere on the actual container of water. And then I have the stone holder itself, and I also have a diamond plated flattening stone. This could also be a whetstone as well. You could technically sharpen a knife on here, but for this particular video, I'm going to be using a diamond plate to actually flatten my whetstone. It's also important to note that the grit of the diamond plate is going to be much more coarse, or a lower grit, than the stone that I'm flattening. So the first thing we want to do when flattening a whetstone is to make sure that you soak the stone itself. So this stone's been soaking for a few minutes now, and you really only need to soak your whetstone until you stop seeing little bubbles kind of come out of the stone and bubble up towards the surface of the water. Now, when sharpening sushi knives, it's absolutely crucial that the stone itself is perfectly flat. So the reason for making this video is to make sure that in the next video that I make, which is going to be how to sharpen your sushi knife, you guys are going to already know that your whetstone is going to be perfectly flat, so that you'll get the most optimal edge on your sushi knife. So the first thing we want to do is you want to actually use a graphite pencil to make a couple of markings or a grid on your flat stone itself. That way we can kind of see exactly how flat or how concave your whetstone is. So I'm going to use is just a mechanical pencil, and I'm just going to draw a couple of lines down the stone itself. These lines don't have to be perfectly straight, but we want to do something of a grid just to make sure that we know where on the stone it's dished out and where on the stone it's flat. So once we have our lines made, what I'm going to do is take my diamond plate, and I make sure there's a little bit of water on our stone, and I'm going to lay the coarse side of the plate face down on top of my whetstone, and without applying much pressure, because the diamond plate is heavy enough on its own, I'm just going to run the diamond plate back and forth. Now we only need to do this for maybe a minute or two, and then we can remove the diamond plate, rinse it off, and we can see on our stone exactly which parts of the stone are flat and which parts are slightly dished out. So I'm going to get the stone nice and wet again. And you might need to apply a few more lines just to make sure. And then we're going to repeat that process again. So remember the coarse side of the diamond plate face down, and we're just going to do a couple of pushes and pulls. Want to make sure to keep applying water to the stone. Now, since this is a whetstone that you have to soak, it will retain a little bit more water, so you don't have to reapply water quite as often as you would like maybe what they call a splash and go stone. But it's still better to have more water than less. So we're going to keep repeating this process until all of the lines that we've added with our graphite pencil have been removed. Now these diamond plated flattening stones can be purchased on Amazon, but they are kind of expensive. Technically speaking, the diamond plate was more expensive than the whetstone itself, but the diamond plate is going to last you quite a bit longer than most whetstones will, and it's a really important piece of equipment for this entire process. Because you'll go through several different whetstones throughout the course of your knife sharpening career, but chances are you'll probably only need one diamond plate. Most of this equipment was actually purchased on Amazon and shipped directly to me, and I'll post links to where you can buy all this equipment online. Okay, so now most of the marks have been removed from the top of the stone, And just to double check, I'm gonna add a few more lines. This time I'm gonna space them out much further apart. And we're just gonna double check to make sure that our stone is perfectly flat. All right, now once we have a perfectly flat edge, what I like to do is take my diamond plate and just really quickly run across the edges a few times. This just makes sure that the edges of the whetstone aren't so sharp that they cut your hands while you're sharpening your knife. But it doesn't take very much on either side to just angle them just a little bit. Now, if you want to flatten your whetstone on a budget, there are a few other ways that you can do it. One of the ways you can do it is to get a very precisely flat surface, which I would recommend either using a pane of glass or a mirror. And you can use a type of spray-on adhesive and put a really low grit or coarse sandpaper that's both wet and dry, and you can glue it to that flat surface. And then you can use the same idea without having to purchase a diamond plate. You can take your whetstone and making sure that it's been soaked for the appropriate amount of time until all the bubbles bubble up to the surface. You flip your stone over and then push it back and forth on top of that wet sandpaper. And you're going to use that same technique where you draw the lines on and you flatten it until you no longer see any lines on the top of your whetstone. And there you have it. Now you have a perfectly flat whetstone and you're ready to sharpen your sushi knives. If you guys have any questions about this video, or if you want links to where you can buy all this equipment off Amazon, check the description box below and leave me a comment if you have any questions. My name is Brian Skinney from secrettosushi.com. Thank you guys for watching.